All right, so we got a great show today. We're talking on the subject of why relationships fail. So, Helen, I hope you're ready to give them the juice. Let's go.
As always, let's talk about it.
All right, let's talk about it. So, we have Mr. Tim Ross, video Mr. Tim Ross. He gave a pretty interesting perspective on why relationships fail. So, we're going to go ahead and play that for it and give you guys our feedback on why relationships fail.
Let's go. Let me open here for all of us.
All right.
Let me know if you guys can see and hear. Let me put it up. Okay.
You are never going to find out enough about your partner to make a lifelong decision. I'm going to say it again. You will never find out enough about your partner to make a lifelong decision. You will find out as much as you can to get to the altar. What you know gets you to the altar. And what you make a vow to is what you do not know. That's why it says better or worse. Because you don't know. If you've been dating 3+ years, you probably living together at some point. Y'all been having sex with each other. Y'all been filling each other out. And so you think, oh, this dating ship is going to be the same thing as this marriage ship. It's a different boat. Dating and marriage are not the same thing. When the light of matrimony hits that marriage, that's when you're going to find out what you didn't know. All the dope relationships that you see, oh my God, this is goals. This is relationship goals. I want that for me. Them jokers worked. They got over their differences. They got over their egos. They got over their pettiness. They apologized. They worked. I've seen marriages survive infidelity. I've seen marriages survive no money. I've seen marriages survive the death of a child. I've never seen a marriage survive pride. I've never seen a marriage survive ego. I've never seen a marriage survive bitterness and vindictiveness and unforgiveness. I've never seen that. All that other stuff, light work if you got the tools. You are never going to find out.
Man, that's interesting. That's interesting. So you said you're never gonna overcome bitterness or unforgiveness. And that's an interesting thing. So because when I think about unforgiveness, there's a difference between unforgiveness and trust. So I can forgive you, but trust, because we know when those relationships start lacking trust, right? That's when it's like, I don't even trust you to go to the mailbox. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
I
Like you
don't
go
know
to the
what you're
mailbox, like,
saying.
huh?
I
Huh?
don't know what you're saying. Uh,
That's like, I don't even trust you to go to the mailbox. And when that trust is broken, and so we're talking about why relationships fail. I believe that having trust, what causes, is trust earned? Is it automatic? Talk to me about it.
Man, well, I know, I agree with you. I think forgiveness is one thing, trust is another thing. And will be people in your life, and that may include your spouse or something that you will choose to forgive, and maybe you will never gonna be able to trust again. And that's how it is. Because I think trust trust like has to be earned and will take time. Can you earn that trust back? Yes, absolutely. But don't be surprised if the other person is always kind of iffy about it. It's just also, it depends how deep and how it's kind of like a cut, you can have like a scar, depends on the size of the cut, or like how deep was the cut. Like it heals differently, and each person is different.
Let's talk about, you talk about cutting, huh? So isn't it funny how, we enter into relationships. You talked about it being different from the dating, and then there's something about when you get married and you get into a deeper relationship, stuff just starts to change. It's crazy. And I'll never forget John Maxwell, he made a quote. He said, the reason why a lot of times dating relationships end up being better off than the marriage relationships is because you tried more when you were dating. When you get married, you start getting comfortable. And so getting comfortable, what does it look like for a man to get comfortable? What does it look like for a woman to get comfortable? Why do you get comfortable? What is the I don't know, what's the switch as to why we tend to get comfortable? Because we tend to be very trustworthy in the beginning. Very trustworthy. But here's reality. is there really anything to trust in the beginning? Is there really anything to trust? Because when we get into a relationship, I think that hear me out. When we're talking about trusting, right? That means I have to be in a situation to be able to have to trust you. So that means there's gonna have to be hardship. How many hardships actually really happen when you're dating?
But yes, yes and no, because also like everybody comes with some baggage. So yes, I
Right? I
understand
mean, we
what you
get that.
say, and I'm with you. I'm with you. I feel like the dating part should be like light and should be not any like a super major task that I may fail, you know. But depends how, and like I said, each person is different. Some people like even betrayal, like I feel like betrayal can be different from person to person. I feel like everybody put it like a um like cheating in a pedestal in relationships, and they forget everything else that for me is just equally bad as cheating or even worse. It just depends, because has disrespect that happens daily, that it
True,
damage more a person than just one
true,
situation that actually is just a reflection of many other bad things that is happening.
true.
So
Okay.
I disagree with that, but I think it depends how you come from other relationship. Could be that you looking for everything that this person does to not trust them. So that could be an issue. That would be the thing. Like if I come from another relationship that I don't know, like a guy used to cheat on me all the time, and then I started dating someone else new, but then I'm like every single move that this person does, I'm like afraid that they may gonna cheat. Like I like doubting the trust, but in in like technically it should not be like this when you're dating. Should be easy, taking consideration that nobody has a baggage, but like it's hard. Normally when somebody is dating a little bit longer, they have some back experience, that's when like the trust is being passed right there.
So I'm hearing you, but so I heard something about dating, right? Where you should date, and maybe this is going to be interesting. Dating to date, or should you be dating to get married? Because what's the point in dating? What's really the point in dating, right? Everybody has the chat. If what is dating to you? Because I think everybody goes into dating differently. You know, as a male, I can say that it's very easy when you're talking about dating. For me, unless you really have mm, that purpose out in front of you, dating is really something you just
Say, let's talk about it
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Dating is just
What are
kind
you
of
trying to
it's fun and
say?
game. It's fun and games. It's fun and games. It's fun and games because and that's why we're talking about relationships fail, right? What's the purpose? What's the foundation of why these things happen? Because really, we don't do the work in the beginning. We don't do the work. We talk about because remember he said we work harder in the beginning than we do in a marriage. But are we really working? Are we really working? Because what? Are we really working? Because let's talk purposely. Let's talk purposely. If I'm really working, I'm gonna be working on myself. I'm gonna be working purposefully. I'm gonna move as a man. I'm gonna be moving towards my goals and desires. I'm not gonna be chasing the punani. I'm not gonna be chasing it. If I'm chasing after that, then that shows you what my motive. You can't chase both. I can't chase both. So as a man, I'm already getting into it in a situation where the motive ain't right. You're asking me, you're
But
asking me.
always,
I'm not saying always.
you think
I'm not saying always.
always on dating, guys goes on the date with no purpose. Like you think that honestly, the main reason for a date is just like let's get laid. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, as a man,
Uh-huh. You said
I'm
that many
already
times.
driven. Huh?
You said
What?
that many times as a man.
No,
Go on.
so what I'm saying, I'm already in a mode, right? I'm fighting this desire to,
just get laid.
That's that's the desire. Yeah,
Serious.
let's do it. Yeah, I'm fighting this desire. So so if I don't have something out there, then yeah, what really are we doing?
But what make you think that the girl is not the same? The woman
I'm
is not
not
the
saying the girl
same.
is. I'm just speaking for me. I'm not speaking for the girl.
No,
I'm just saying
absolutely. But I think what I'm trying to say is like the way
that's
yes,
a good question. That's a good
it is
question.
a good
What are you doing?
question.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, the reason why I think a relationship fail and that we try harder when we are dating than we try hard then after we get married is why. It's the same reason when you get a job and you are in three months like before you get like really the job, you know what I mean? Like the testing of 3 months, you normally behave better than after you say you got the job. Norm, everybody. I think honestly, there, if we can all be honest with each other, we all can agree that our brains are lazy. And once our brain knows, like, he is safe, he's safe. It's the same thing as my kids. Oh, look at this. As many times, like, I don't hear a bad thing about my kids ever, any place they go. Everybody love them, especially Enzo. At the moment that this person gets near a house, is another person. And I was like, what the heck? Like, you can listen out. If your teacher's talking to you, you listen. You feel like you always obey. But then you get here, like, what the hell happened? But then the other day, a mom was telling me that he used all the energy to be good outside. And when he feels safe, he just relaxes. So I would say is the same analogy. When you're dating, is still if this person really want to be with you. So even like remember when we first met, then a lot of times you would look at me and say, you're being nice. And I was like, no, that's how I am. You like, no, I can tell you're being nice. And then after we like as a friendship evolved, like I can cuss you out and like but at first I was being nice because it's like I don't feel as comfortable to just cuss you out right now when you annoy me. But after I feel comfortable because we are in the relationship that we already know each other, it's just like, and it's normal.
So should it be okay? So here's the deal though. Should it be like that though? I get it. We all understand that, oh, hey, there's a break-in period where everybody's kind of playing it cool. But could it be that might be the reason for why relationships suffer because we don't show the authentic at the end? Now, I'm not saying,
absolutely.
I'm not saying tell all your business right off the bat.
No.
But what I am saying is, if you're mad, let me know that you're upset. If you do, because I need to know how you're going to handle things. The sooner I know how you really going to handle this situation, that lets me know. I want somebody that's going to be upfront. Yes. Okay? Because I respect that as a man. I don't know how you are as a woman. As a man, I want somebody to tell me upfront because that lets me know, okay, now I need to make a decision versus you being one way and then something happening and you turn into a monster. Nah, I don't want that because now you're just wasting my time, my money, my resources.
It is a lot of the times what happened. And I can guarantee that. It's also a lot is not everybody trying to force it. But one thing I always say, anybody can be whoever they want to be for the time period they determine to be. Meaning, so if I want to be like play the fake girl for like, if I determine like for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I can be that. As long as my brain is saying like, hey, I can't be that person. And it happens, but I'm not saying that we do that on purpose, but that is one of the reasons why relationship fail. That's for sure.
I just heard yesterday, this woman, she's been married for 5 years. She's been telling her husband that she's been a nurse at school and she has a nursing like a degree or whatever, but she's been stripping for 5 years, bro. 5 years she's been telling her husband that she is a
nurse and works overnight. A nurse.
And so he thinks he's going to school. She thinks this girl is going to school and she taking people to school. She taking people to school, bro. No, man.
And a lot of people, and so many other things. This is just one case, but so many other things. I think people are so afraid, and that has to do. It has a lot to do there. Also, how you grew up, how everything as a childhood. If you have parents that never let you fail, so if you fail, like it's a big deal, you start like you really creating that. We have people in our life that we know, kind of friends that they are so used to lie, that they lie so much, they lie in our faces that we have to make fun of them. Like, dude, we know you're lying, but they got so used to that habit that they believe their own lies, even though
Mhm.
everybody can see. Like, I can see, and become like a disease. And that this is more normal than we actually can even admit. So is that girl is just one of the cases, but it's so many there.
So that brings a question to the chat. Like, what put in the comments, what would you rather have? Would you rather somebody be totally honest with you from the beginning? Or would you rather them play it cool, you get in the middle, and then they show you what's up? That's a good question, because I don't think everybody's the same. Because you
No,
could bring
yeah.
up the case where somebody's a good person, maybe it can be worked out. Somebody's more flexible and they're more understanding and caring, and they don't want to know at the beginning. Because a lot of times you can get tied into a situation. You're like, damn, I'm already here.
Yeah.
So uh, we're already too invested. People do it every day.
I think like this. Use wisdom. Wisdom is a good thing. It's
So you
called
need the
wisdom
Lord
for a
on this.
reason.
So you need the Lord in there. So we agree we need God in
Sorry.
everything.
Don't you start like vomiting in the first date. Please do not do that.
No, no,
Because
no.
also like,
Mm-mm.
but like you said, you just like you talking about like, should we date just for marriage or should date? I think a little bit of both, because also like I think us women, we can go kind of nuts about the whole like, let's get married, we gotta be serious, blah blah blah. And then I think it's important for a couple to have fun first too. I think a lot of
True.
marriages also fail because they didn't have time to have fun with each other.
That's a good point.
Really lose,
Good point.
like be like, do you want to, even if you're
Friendship.
Christians, let's face it, like we're talking with Christians here. You want to get drunk and wasted, get drunk and wasted. Do everything you do before, like you
You
have
about
to
to
have kids and everything else. Just go for it. Like, but don't pretend, because I have no couples that they are in church and one of them love to dance, but the other doesn't know that the other person dance. And if this person want to go dance, has to find all these excuses to go out and dance. But like, man, but what is this? So I'm married to somebody, but I cannot tell you I like to dance, because that is like Jesus not gonna like me anymore. Like, what the heck? When I have a drink, I much rather have a drink with my husband than pretend I don't drink, and then
a
I
husband
have to
who's a
find an
friend,
excuse.
a husband who you view as a friend,
Uh-huh.
a husband that you view as a friend.
Absolutely.
Because again, we're talking about who are the people we're most authentic with. I would dare to say, I'm gonna say this: we're more authentic with our friends than we are our own spouses.
Sometimes
I'm gonna say that
depends on the
again.
spouses you have. Yes.
I'm saying most people. I'm saying,
That's
okay, so
true.
let's put that in a less healthy relationship. Okay, in a less healthy relationship, you will find people more authentic with their friends than they are their spouse,
I would
because
say
they don't
more.
see the friend, huh?
I would say more, not of it, not just the less healthy relationship, even the ones that look very healthy and they consider health, they are less honest with their spouse than they are with friends. Absolutely.
So we're talking about why relationships fail. I believe that because at the beginning, it's not a friendship. Like you said before, I love what you said earlier. You said that you should want to have fun with that person. Like, if we are not, damn the sex, okay? Take that away. Can I sit down and have a legit conversation with you and you stimulate my mind to where I can sit up here and like, man, this person is fun. This
Yeah.
person is fun. You know what I'm saying? That for me, that is what I've like. If you can stimulate me up here, it's like, God dang. You know what I'm saying?
Ye-
Because that brings connect.
Yeah.
That's why we get into friendships in the first place.
Exactly.
because
That's what,
you're
like,
stimulating.
I always say I'm in a point of my life, Daryl, that if I met somebody today that I cannot sit down on the rooftop and have like a beer over a 6 hours period of conversation, I don't want to be friends
Man,
with this person. I don't care how
man,
much money they have, what they do. If I cannot sit down and have like amazing conversation, like
look,
chilling over a beer, man, you're
look,
not my friend.
let's keep it real. And I'm speaking to y'all women over here. Okay.
Talk to
I'm speaking
me.
to y'all.
Talk to me, baby.
Look, when y'all, let's say you have a situation where there's, some suspect behavior going on in your relationship. Okay. Usually it's because that man is able to stimulate your mind and emotions in some type of way because he hadn't even touched you yet. He hadn't even touched you yet, but you engage in, oh man, this is exciting. Because he's
Yeah.
stimulating with his communication. Mm. So
That's true.
that shows you the power of communication that you will, because your mind is getting stimulated.
But why? Why? Also because man, what we always talk about it, man is visual, woman is attention. The
Right.
conversation in
All right,
the
hold on now. Hold on.
communication.
We want attention too now. We want attention too. Don't no no. Don't get it twisted. We
I
want
know.
attention.
I mean, like at first, not that we don't want the looks, but man is a little bit towards like the visual too than we are.
Well,
But for
right, we
us,
see
is
that.
the attention.
Right, but what I'm saying is when we're talking about having a conversation and you are creeping on the side, okay? Let's say you got somebody on the side. That is because how that started was conversation. Somehow the stimulation for the mind was triggered. Because here's the deal. If you haven't stepped out yet, and if you haven't stepped out physically, like in a relationship, like if you haven't done that physically, why are you entertaining that? Why? Because your mind is being stimulated. Something up here is being triggered. You just haven't had the physical opportunity to step out. But what I'm saying is when you take all that is because some up here is like, oh, this is exciting. Oh. So for spouses, that's giving you free game to say, look, you gotta keep your spouse mentally stimulated, no matter how much the looks are. If you can't be stimulated by we're communicators. All of us are communicators. If you want, they talk about it in sales and everything. If you want to increase your wealth, you want to increase your sales, they say communication and writing. If you know how to communicate, if you know how to speak and write, you will increase everything. So if I know how to write and I'm texting saying the right things, and I'm like, I got you.
Yeah,
So that
that's
means as a
true.
man and as a woman, you have to be able to do that in a way that keeps your spouse interested in you outside of sex. If you just have the sex, you're done. You're
Yeah,
done.
yeah, you done,
You're
you done.
done.
And it's so fair because it's like I feel like I can speak as being a woman and a wife, um, that a lot of times we are shutting down our mans because the way we talk about a couple of things. Like for example, I'll give an example from myself because I can do that. Like I use has things that Roger
Sure.
does that drives me fucking insane. Just like, dude, I don't get it. Because the way his brain works, he's very mathematic. Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm very creative. So he would do things like, for example, he likes to cook. And then we get the celery, like his celery get in a bunch. And then I'll go to the fridge sometimes and it has one celery on the fridge. Like you got the bunch, you got everything and left only one left. And I'll be like, dude, what I'm supposed to do if we won? And I used to go and see those things and like, what the heck? Once again, why you do this? And then one day hit me, like ask the why. Don't like get it like, rolling over. And then I stop. I say, I'm gonna breathe, but I need to ask a question because I don't understand why you put it back in place. Things with one thing only. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like, sometimes you save in the fridge like one piece of chicken. Like, we are a family of four. Like, I don't get it. Like, what the heck? And then look at the answer. He said, because I follow recipe. And the recipe said to use 4 and then have 5. I took the 4, I put it there, and then I put it back. I don't look to see how many is left. It's just I took the 4 and that's it. Is that how my brain works? It's like I'm not trying to affect you. I'm not trying to, get you with that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, yes, his brain is mathematic. So if he sees a recipe and the recipe says 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 2, he'll go like 1 plus 1 is 2. That's it. But then I'm done. And that brought me to me, there was so much clarity in so many other areas. And I started like realize like it's so easy to just like communicate in a way that you're stupid, you're an idiot. Like, what the heck? Even if we're not using the words you're stupid, you're idiot, but our attitude and everything is going this way instead of asking a question. So after that, I had way much more grace and more understanding, and he got better on pay attention before he put a back thing. So of course, it wasn't so easy and didn't happen overnight, but also back to communication is like a one way to another. You can communicate to stimulate something good, or without knowing, we're shutting down.
I like that. I'm writing a note on communication. Because what you did there, you said you recognize and you understood. Scripture says, "In all you're getting, get understanding." Right. So it's our responsibility to start to understand how our spouse or the person in a relationship communicates. And I think there's a book called Love Languages, Five Love Languages. Yeah. And so even that right there shows you how, and I don't think we do enough of that. We don't do enough of intentionally say, this is how my spouse communicates. What we tend to do is we think about how we communicate. And so we're expecting that other person to communicate to us based on how we like to be talked to. So for me,
know how I learned also too, because like growing up, I don't know for you, but for me, growing up was more like that person is intelligent, the other person is intelligent, and everybody else was dumb, because was only taking consideration sometimes with high IQ. So if this person is academically like intelligent, they were considered intelligent and everybody else was not. And then when I come to understand, is like our brains are wired differently. It's not because somebody is like IQ super high that they are intelligent versus somebody that is emotionally intelligent. They are two different types of intelligence.
Yeah.
They are both intelligent, but they are in different ways. So we got to understand that too.
Yeah, up here doesn't mean you're emotionally intelligent. And typically you rely on a lot of logic. And men, we deal with this a lot because we're more rational and we're thinkers. We're thinking like that. And so we're less inclined to really be in touch with our emotions. And so it's hard for us to express those things. And sometimes when we don't have man, I was just listening to a video today on how men, from Tim Ross again, him talking about how men need to we need to create a safe space for men. And I can tell you as a man, I can only speak from a man's point of view, that as a man, when you don't feel safe, okay, and this is not, again, we're both men and women, we're both held accountable, but I can only speak from it as a man. When you don't feel safe to voice your concerns or you shut down. There's a reason why they call it a man cave.
Okay.
There's a reason why it's called a man cave, because you'll go in there and shut down. We don't have a problem shutting down and just being focused on that one thing and be done with it. And we will, and society already puts it on us to where, if you in touch with feelings and all that, you're soft and all that other stuff. And then you got men committing suicide left and right.
Yes.
You got men committing suicide left and right, or dying slowly on the inside because they're not voicing what their concerns are. So the stress and this all this stuff that's being bogged down, being a provider, being a supporter, providing security, all this stuff that's in there. I can't even get my stress out, you know.
And we are all
Yeah,
like a little kid there. We are all a 5, 6 year old little kid in a big body. That's it. We react the same. So
true.
we became a society which everybody's around a kid, but then we forget the adults are having the same problems. I
Yeah.
can't just like you voice and listen my kid, but then my husband, my wife, I can. And it will happen both ways. It's not just wife, but husband. And that's why sometimes we put it husbands and men in general in that box that is rude, is being rude. But when you have a brain that is mathematic, that is rational, you just say as is. And then when
Right.
you have an emotional, you taking your emotions into consideration, and that clashes. So I have here at home, Enzo is an athlete. He's a natural born athlete. And he is the dude. He's rational, he's good in math, and he's very intelligent, high IQ, really fantastic. He is funny how straight he is. It's like funny. If you will walk in the street and if you see a person that is big, he say like, "Hey, why are you fat?" And that people will read like, "Oh
Hmm.
my gosh, this kid is so rude." And I had to learn, and God had to give me grace to understand him, because at first, literally, even being his mother, I thought this kid is an asshole. But then I understood that he's so intelligent that his brain doesn't cope with like, oh, you hurt my feelings, blah blah blah. He doesn't understand that. For him, it is what it is, and he's not being rude or mean or anything. He's just saying like and asking a legit question. Had
Hmm.
time that he stopped in the street and asked a person, "Why are you so fat? You should have seen my face." Because it's like, what?
Mm.
You don't know. I had to explain the person. And you know what was cool? And here's just an example for a husband and wife. When we are afraid to remember, I always tell you, the biggest problem in relationship people keeping avoiding confrontation. Confrontation is not a bad thing. It's a great thing. You know what
Yeah.
this person did? When I say like, "Oh my, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it, but I really need a hole." That moment, all I wanted was a hole there. This person, no, no, he's right. Yes, I am fat. He told him, he sat down with him and they had a full on conversation when he explained things that he went through. And honestly, I feel that for that man was liberating. Be able to talk through his problem and issues that he was facing for so long. And everybody was just avoiding. And the little kid got to him a straight question, honest question, and he was able to actually voice. Wasn't this amazing? I was like, I
Yeah.
went a hole. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's being so rude. And the guy, like, no, 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 he's right. Like, sit down. I'm going to talk to you. And
Yeah.
sometimes, just sometimes, we're doing the same. We are like in our face something that is bugging us. And because we're married and because we are afraid that we're gonna fight or gonna have a problem, we are not asking the
You
honest
end up fighting
question.
anyways, and you end up fighting
Exactly.
anyways. You end up fighting anyways. You end up fighting anyways. You what did Bob say? What I have feared the most has come upon me. So note to self,
Right.
note to self, whatever you're afraid, man, I'll never forget, man. As we close this, there was a time that I knew that I was afraid to confront a situation, and it had changed how I was. Oh man. And I'll never forget the Holy Spirit spoke to my heart, said, "What you compromise to keep, you will eventually lose anyways. What you compromise to keep." In other words, you're not being yourself, your true authentic self. You are changing to appease people. And because you're afraid to confront them, because you're trying to hold tight to this friendship, this relationship, you're going to lose that anyways. Because what you fail to realize is what you think, there's a difference between what you think they actually need and want versus what they actually need in their life. And they need you. They don't know, they won't know it until you give it to them, the real you. And because you're trying to be what you think they need, You don't realize they already got what you need. They're not looking for it. We're all internally looking for the thing that we don't have, even if we're not voicing that. But we know what we know when we see it, we know it. Like when we experience, we know it. We know it, right? And so the reality of it is you'll lose yourself in even in your relationships. And this is not just friendship. This is not just intimate relationships. We're talking about friendships as well.
Everything.
Misunderstanding your value, not knowing what you bring to the table, puts you in wrong places with wrong people.
Yeah.
Or it could put you in the right place, or excuse me, the wrong, how do I say this? It could put you with the right people, but you're out of place.
Time.
You're out of place. You're out of position. And that's the whole point. We got to get back in position. We got to get back in position. The man has to get in the right position. The woman has to get in the right position. The friends have to be in the right position. But none of that happens if we don't know what we bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. And the right position is good to say that because I think in new society days, they assume that as a woman, I'm not gonna go back to be a housewife just because the right position now. And then I remember that so many times, even with my husband, with Roger, we had these huge fights because I would say I quote the scripture about like he being the lead, he being like the head of the household and everything, and he got so mad at me many times because I think for him, he understood almost like I didn't want to like, help provide and everything. Nowadays, we both have to work. It's not very little people can have the luxury of only one be working, but being in position doesn't mean that. Position is as a wife, you constantly have to be a little bit of a pain as for your husband, because if you truly love him,
Yeah.
you see greatness and
Yeah.
you push for
There's
greatness.
different positions. Yeah, there's different
And
positions.
exactly. And this is
Mhm.
uncomfortable for both because I would love to speak only once and people understand and I don't have to repeat myself. But no, I have to. And it's part of my position. And as a man, be the head is not necessarily that I'm going to be the only one working, the only one provider. No, we're going to do together, but the decision and the vision normally will come from the man. Not that the woman not going to have a vision and that is not what I'm saying, but it is like working together. And when both are competing, nobody's actually like coming together. Then everything becomes offensive.
It's hard to win a game when you're competing against your own teammates, when you got an
Yes.
opponent out in front of you, as a sports reference. So with that being said, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you put like, comments. Also, give us the subjects that you would love for us to talk about. We'll definitely talk about. That's why we won't talk about it. We're going to talk about the hard subjects. We want to make sure that we're adding clarity to our mission, that we are talking about hard subjects because we want to push forward the mission of releasing the kingdom of God. It's not supposed to just stay in the church. Okay. We got to have these hard conversations to make sure that we put God in this thing. God wants to be all up in your business. You heard? So until next time, we're going to talk about it. Helen, peace.
Peace.